everyone. Today, since the good season seemed to be approaching, I wanted to share with you a dish that I like a lot. It's cold and it's perfect for those very hot days, especially because the vast majority of the ingredients, if not all of them, depending on what you decide to use, don't even need to be cooked. So that would take the heat off of the kitchen, literally. This dish is basically stuffed tomatoes, but they are cold. So there are different types of stuffed tomatoes. Most of them actually require cooking, but in this case, it's a cold dish and it's stuffed with all cold things. Therefore, you need some medium, large, depending on how you like them, size, ripe but firm tomatoes. You cut the top off, but save it because it will be nice looking at the end of the recipe. You carefully scoop the pulp out of your tomatoes and put it in a bowl. You can use it for salads, you can use it for sauces, for other uses, but not for this dish. Then you sprinkle a little bit of salt inside the tomatoes and put them in a fairly large colander upside down so that they will kind of release their water. While the tomatoes drain, let's say it this way, you put in a bowl whatever you are meaning to use as far as stuffing. Now, you will most likely have too much stuffing compared to the quantity that can fit in the tomatoes, unless you use really big ones. But that's okay. I mean, you'll eat them along with whatever's in the tomatoes. So one way to stuff them that requires zero cooking is to dice up ham and cheese and then drain well marinated mushrooms, marinated artichoke hearts. If you can, get the ones that are packed in oil, for two simple reasons: because brine tends to steal the flavor away, whereas oil doesn't, and so the vegetables immersed into the oil are actually much more flavorful. And then you can use the oil for future uses in sauces, in salads, however you want. You can use just thawed peas. They don't actually need to be cooked. If you can find the baby peas, I think they are labeled as baby sweet peas or something like that. Those are even better because their skin is so thin and tender that they really are perfect, even just thawed. Then you can use hard-boiled eggs. You can use tuna. You can use those tiny shrimp, you know, the cocktail, I think they call them cocktail or salad shrimp. They're the little ones that are frozen, yes, but they're cooked already. Something else you can add is just some cucumbers, celery, thinly sliced onions, depending on what you use. I mean, I wouldn't use the onions if I am using ham and cheese, but I would use the onions if I'm adding the tuna. Or you can make it vegan by simply use beans, small-ish, better than the large butter beans, and if you use peas. Then comes the dressing, let's call it that way. You can use actually one of the dressings I talked in the previous episode, or, and again, this is not going to be vegan, you can use mayonnaise. You can use a mix of mayonnaise and yogurt, or if you want to try and keep fats at bay, you can just use yogurt with a mix of finely chopped onions, some herbs, lemon juice, depending on what type of flavoring you want to give it. All of this for vegan needs can be made vegan, or if you are lactose intolerant and can't have yogurt, you can use the non-lactose one or the vegan ones. You can just use simple extra virgin olive oil and lemon zest, especially with the seafood-based ones. There are endless possibilities. If you actually, like I do, and I talked about this before, if you pre-cook before the heat arrives, if you pre-cook farro and freeze it in portion, you can actually thaw some of the farro and mix it with all of this and stuff the tomatoes with that. And in this case, you're actually getting a perfectly complete meal, because you'll have the carbs in farro, all of the vegetables and the proteins with whatever protein source you decided to use, whether it be ham, cheese, beans, tuna, doesn't matter. Then, as we said, you will have more stuffing that actually space to put it in. So I generally turn the tomatoes, stuff with the stuffing I created on that at that moment, and then cap the tomatoes with the top that you cut off. Put it in an airtight container and in a fridge. They can be made the day before, and then whatever's left over, I put it in a different airtight container, and when it's time to serve, I just put whatever amount of tomatoes I decided per person, plus the extra stuffing, and cold dinner. No need to cook anything. Again, if it's not super hot and you can cook farro. You can cook carrots and dice the carrots in it. You can quickly saute some zucchini. You can grill zucchini or eggplant. I mean, as really endless possibilities. You can throw capers and olives in. So make sure you unleash your creativity. Don't want to cook, and you don't want to cook farro, you don't have farro in your freezer, fine. Just serve it with some bread and you will be perfectly good to go. And again, you will not have cooked anything. So I hope you will give it a try. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you have a similar idea or a similar recipe that you make. I will include in the description a couple links of some of mine. So make sure you take a look, and I really be waiting for your comments. See you next time.